Hey up, welcome to the Cannon Hall Farm podcast. With us, the Nicholson brothers, farmers Rob and Dave.
We're two Yorkshire farmers who, along with our dad Roger, brother Rich and the rest of our family, have turned a farm with 2 sheds and a barn into an award-winning tourist attraction.
You've seen us on the telly, live on Facebook, and now we've got our very own podcast.
On today's episode, we're going to be joined by one of our TV friends, the local legend that is Matt the Vet.
Coming up.
At the time, there was Harry and Meghan on the cover, and they'd completely covered Meghan up so you could only see Harry. And in doing that, they'd completely covered me up as well. So all you could see was Prince Harry, Catherine, and Anastasia.
Oh, you know? Really?
So people took I up pictures and sent me. It's like, oh mate, you're not in it. What happened? What happened? Just Catherine and Harry. And I was like, yeah.
Today, we've got our first guest who is not a member of our family.
Well, he's a good friend though, Rob. I mean, Matt the Vet, bit of a local legend. He's been coming to our farm for a number of years now, and he's done some cracking work here as well.
Without him, we would not have as many animals that are thriving, without a doubt. He's a brilliant vet, as are all the Yorkshire vets.
Yeah, we know them all really, really well, because not everybody will know that David, Shauna, Rohin, Matt, they are actually at a local practice, and we kind of introduced them to Daisy Beck through Springtime on the Farm.
We're incredibly lucky that our animals are treated by some of the best in the business, but we'll come back to that. What have you been up to this week?
I've been on a bit of a road trip. We've got a lot of stock, Rob, and winter's coming, so we have to sell some of the male alpacas, some of the baby ones that have been delivered over the years, and we've found some cracking new homes for them.
Part of farming is moving surplus stock on. Did these alpacas go to a first-class residence?
Oh, superb.
Yeah?
You know, it was a really, really nice place. 10 acres, a lovely cottage. They've got their own outside bar. Those alpacas.
The alpacas?
No, they have.
That is above and beyond.
The alpacas have got a nice water trough.
Yeah.
But it just looked a great place. Pizza oven outside. I thought, yeah, I could have
I thought you'd been a while.
I could settle down here nicely.
I've been busy. I've been getting the tups prepared for the big day. They need the feet doing. They need worming. They need to be absolutely ready for when they're called to action, and the time is nigh. You know, we need those lads in with the ewes in the next few days. We need them to be tupping strongly so that we've got lots of lambs at springtime.
Yeah, you have to get the ewes in the right condition just before tupping. Flush them. When I say flush, you feed them lush grass so they produce lots of eggs just before the ram does the do.
I know all this, Dave. Why are you telling me?
Well, the viewers out there might not know this, but that's what you say. When I say flushing, not everybody will realise what's that all about.
Exactly. I've also been... What else have I been doing? I've been doing so much.
Bonfires.
Oh, I know what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Clearing out loads of storage containers, making sure that when our Christmas stock arrives, we've got somewhere to put it, because this year is racing by. It'll be pumpkins next, and then it'll be the Christmas experience. We've got stock for the farm shop. I just want to say to the world, just slow down. I want to enjoy life a bit more.
Well, the temperature's dropping as well. That means the grass will stop growing, and we're going to have to look for new fields for the animals to go into. So it's a bit of a, well, it's going to be a hard couple of months.
We're basically doomed.
Well, basically... We have to go around all our neighbours and see what land we've got to rent. So that's what we've got to do.
Anyway, we will be fine. It happens every year.
Yeah.
So, Matt the Vet, we're incredibly lucky to have these people working alongside us. You've described him as another brother to you.
Oh, definitely, yeah. A younger brother, because he's a few years younger than me. But yeah, I think he's a nice, kind-hearted chap. He's always here with a smile on his face, and he always likes to have a bit of a laugh. So, you know, he's a good man.
He's an inspirational character. I would imagine he's a good colleague to have. I bet the other vets love him because he's strong, he's robust, he'll have a go at anything. I think if they're struggling with a calving, he'll have his number on speed dial because he's got those long arms, hasn't he? He's got strength in those arms. I would imagine he's as good as anyone at calving a cow.
Well, we've seen it, Rob. You know, several times, whether it's calving a cow, he had a tricky falling once and he got that one really well. He's got the skills, there's no doubt.
I think Matt, David, Sean at rowing, they're like a band of brothers and sisters, aren't they? They're good friends. And I'd like to think that we're up there in their top 40 or 50 friends.
I'd say so. They're the dream team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Rowan is a really nice lad, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
We went on a trip with him to buy Sultan the Bull, and I think he really, really enjoyed it.
Rob, that hasn't been on telly yet, so you're breaking an embargo, but you know what? Doesn't really matter, does it?
We can do what we want on here. No one tells us what to do. Right, we're going to get into our chat with Matt the vet. It was recorded a little while ago, and it was so long, it's actually a two-parter. Now, David played a sneaky trick on Matt, didn't you?
I certainly did. He was here to do some work on one or two of the animals, do a few injections, a few vaccinations. So while he was here, I thought, I know, let's ask him on the podcast, and it's a bit of a freebie.
You think it's a freebie? Have you checked the bill?
I haven't got the bill yet.
Matt's double-crossed us.
I don't think he will have done, but anyway, forget about the bill, forget about being Yorkshire and tight. Let's see what Matt's got to say.
Here's part one. And now we're joined by our great friend, Matt the vet. Matt, welcome to the sofa. Wonderful to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me, Rob. Good to see you, Dave, as well.
Good to see you.
Right, we can't think of anyone better to have a real good chat with than you. You know, we're good pals, you're loads of fun, and you've been coming to our farm now for the last 8 years. Does it feel like a lifetime?
You know, it feels like a minute ago when we were all sat down discussing the zoo collection, discussing the expansion of the farm and such like that. And I distinctly remember at some point in time, weren't giraffes or zebras discussed?
Well,
I mean, where are we on that, Rob?
I had this crazy idea that a field full of giraffes would look great, that some emperor penguins, right, not just humbled, emperor penguins would be something we could aspire to. And maybe a hippopotamus or something like that, but we've had to scale it back.
We were that close to actually ordering a great big tank for penguins.
Yeah.
With viewing screens, places for the audience to sit. It was going to be the biggest one in the country.
Matt, we nearly picked up a penguin.
Really? That's no joke. Oh man! Well, it's one that there's a few little spots as you go across that would be perfect for something like some otters, or you know.
Otters are still a possibility. Yeah. We've obviously had to temper things because, as you know, and we found out, things like that are quite expensive to keep, and we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. But I think we've got a collection to be proud of, and a collection that's well looked after by yourself and all your colleagues. So we very much appreciate that.
No, it is. You know what? And it's all so good to be part of a zoo and a collection that does so well to look after them and also progressively expands as well, because there are so many hoops to jump through. And you know what? It's something which the more boxes that you have to tick, because you know when you've got a few little like poo samples to take for the fancy rats and the cloud rats and stuff like that. You know, it's no mean feat to do, and I think it's something which a lot of people that come to visit zoos don't have that appreciation of the work behind the scenes.
The way that David's smirking, I think we should make him head of feces.
No, I think Rob talks that much of it.
Yeah.
Right? He should be out of it.
Well, you know, actually, a chief poo picker might not be too bad an idea, because you've got a lot of collection now. Parasite monitoring's important.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that you're on top with all your worm control and such. So, could set you up a little lab, get you a lab coat on. And
Dr. Dave,
I think he's found his natural home.
I think so.
Now, I've got to tell you this, right? We knew you were coming today, and we thought, should we do the interview before you did all the injections and all the vaccinations with the horses, or should we do it afterwards? And we thought, we'll do it afterwards, because then you'll work a bit faster and it won't cost us as much.
You know what? That's a great logistics there, Dave. You know,
Rob's idea.
So, casting back to 8 years ago,
Yeah.
we set off on our journey with you and with Donaldson's, who are your colleagues, and it just seems to have gone so really, really well from our point of view. We've managed to build up the anniversary herd of short-horn cattle. We've gone big into pedigree sheep. We've got the reptile house. We've got the mammal house. Which bit of it, or do you just embrace the whole lot, do you like best, Matt?
You know what? I love the lot of it, and I've always said, if anyone's heard me interviewed or anything like that before, they'll be sick of me saying that I love my large animals and cattle and stuff like that. I do like my smalls, but I've got a tendency to like my exotics and reptiles. You know, if you've got reptiles on one hand and you've got cows in the other, you've got a dinosaur vet, you know. Yeah. So 65 million years ago, that'd be my jam. Or if Jurassic Park comes to life and you guys fancy investing in a Triceratops, Stegosaurus, T-Rex, whatever it might be, I've got my dark gun license as well. You know what? It's fantastic progression, you know. So I have to say, I do like
a real all-rounder.
Definitely all-rounder, which as a mixed vet, I think is quite tricky to come by these days, because the profession itself is splitting so much into small animal and large animal vets, you know, that the actual like mixed practitioner, it's quite hard to find an area, which I think is what you're actually limited by, that you can do a good job on all fields. And like you said, we've been 8 years working together now, and it has been an absolute roller coaster ever since, because as soon as we started, we got on board with the little zoo collections and such like that. The mammal house wasn't up and running. I think the reptile house was a lot smaller than it is now. You had the anniversary of the shorthorns, and then suddenly there was a springtime on the farm. Came through the cesarean for that, and that's when our Yorkshire vet journey started, as you started with that springtime on the farm, because it wasn't long, obviously, that we were going, and then COVID hit, and that's when you guys got that award, didn't you, for the contributions during COVID.
Lockdown award.
Lockdown award.
O2 Lockdown Heroes and Point of Light, Commonwealth Point of Light Award, which was a proud moment, that, because we were obviously able to keep people entertained through the lowest of times, you know. So
and we're still getting people today visiting the farm, because you know they just wanted to come say hello and well, thank us for doing all those 150 days of broadcasts throughout the lockdown. It's nice.
So Matt, just casting our mind back to springtime on the farm, 6 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
I seem to remember that we recommended you to Daisy Beck as someone, and Dave and Shona as well, as someone who would be worth following. And did you? So you started on springtime, and then that spawned the next generation of Yorkshire vets?
Yeah, so what happened, I remember it now again, is when you were having that problem with the shorthorns and we were having all those...
Losing some calves.
Cesareans. Because the first time that you guys did springtime, I think me, Shona and David, I think each did an evening as kind of like vet cover for that evening in case something was to happen. Because they hadn't started incorporating us or anything like that into the Yorkshire vet. And then throughout that next 12-month period was the cesareans came across. I distinctly remember it now. There was, in a week, you must have had 2 cesareans, a couple of assisted calvings. I remember coming down to one of the first cesareans. I remember seeing, I think, Leisha and Tom filming it, and said, "Oh, can we film you?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I remember it now. She was on the ground for half of it. I remember I had the student with me. I was trying to instruct the student as to what to do, and I remember keep looking back to the camera. I think Leisha was saying, "No, don't look straight down the camera," you know, stuff like that. So you're trying to do the procedure, and then do it there for that full length of time, and then David went to do an assisted calving with yourselves, and then it was something which you guys obviously had a chat with Daisy Beck and pointed them in our direction, which I have to say we are very, very grateful for.
Well, we knew, Matt, that there's such a variety of different opportunities around here to film different things. You know, maybe more so than just up in Thirsk. I thought it gave a richness, and obviously you've got a youthful zeal to you. You know, Shona as David has. I thought it gave the programme an injection of variety that's definitely helped it.
Oh, definitely. You forgot Rohin, Rob.
He wasn't around. He wasn't around then.
Oh no, he wasn't.
He's only just come into the scene after last 3 years, is it, or 2?
Well, yeah, because I graduated Shona graduated 2012. I graduated 2014. Dave graduated 2017, and Rohin would have been, you're right, he'd have been only graduate, he wouldn't, he'd have still been at university. Coming
again, Daisy-Beck would have... there's a lot of vets in there at Donaldson's.
Oh, there's a lot, yeah.
And it's not just you guys that are filmed sometimes. Sometimes there's a bit of a crossover, is there?
Yeah.
Martin does a bit.
And that's how he got involved. He stepped in, and they obviously liked him, and he's part of the furniture now.
Well, I think that's the amazing thing as to how it's all developed. And I remember after they'd done the filming here with yourselves, they got in contact with myself and David. Do you want to do a little bit more filming? Had a chat with Martin. I was like, yeah, sounds good. And I remember sat down with myself and Martin and Paul at Daisy-Beck in the old meeting room at the old Maple Street practice, which, I mean, you've seen it. I mean, I compare it to like a shotgun house that you can see from the back of the building, right from the front, and then there's a little semi-detached nearby where everyone kind of squashed in for officers, but literally being in that little room.
Yeah.
And speaking to Paul about it, I remember thinking in my head, I was like, oh wow, this is the most amazing thing. Yeah, this sounds great. And Martin was like, okay, yeah, this sounds a good idea. And it was then the film myself and David for it would have been, I think, the next Yorkshire Next Generation,
like
but then
pilot.
COVID hit, but then they decided to weave it in. So obviously it's something which we're all massively grateful for Paul and the team at Daisy-Beck as well for kind of following everything through, and it's been life-changing for all of us.
So really then, Matt, originally it was going to be Yorkshire Vet Next Generation as a separate series.
Yeah.
But then later on they thought, well, why make it separate? Why not just add them into the mix and make it more rounded?
Yeah, so I try and look at the time scale when COVID hit. So COVID hit 2020, wasn't it? So 2019, they started filming and putting stuff together with myself and David, ready to release it in 2020, but then COVID hit, and then all plans got scrambled, and then they kind of integrated us in, which I have to say, I think I speak for all of us when it was a really nerve-wracking time, because the Yorkshire Vet had been established 4 or 5 years by then, and Julian and Peter are the Yorkshire Vets.
And did they welcome you warmly?
Oh, very much so. Oh, yeah. I think having Peter and Julian there for us all to talk to and bounce ideas off was really quite reassuring from it. And I think Martin probably spoke to Julian and Peter and such like that as well, because, it's, for such a popular programme at the time, it's almost, I think, certainly quite intimidating a little bit. It's exciting, but it's slightly nerve-wracking as well to go.
Yeah, I think the good for advice as well. They've been there, they've done it, and this, they said with us when we on that first ever springtime, they said animals come first all the time, and you've just got to put the animals' welfare above everybody else's. Forget about the cameras and everything, and you just do your best for the animals. And I'll never forget that.
Julian told us that, didn't he? It was the first springtime on the farm.
Yeah.
And obviously you want to do your best for the programme. But he said, do not ever forget that animals are the priority and that you look after that first and foremost. And we've never forgotten it. No. And sometimes we just need to say, no, this is one that we need to move on. This is one we need to get delivered now. And the television people are very respectful of that. They don't want to do anything that puts anything at a disadvantage.
After the first springtime,
everything
went quiet. It was a little bit like it was full on for a month, and then all 50 or 60 people disappeared overnight, and we were there twiddling our thumbs. So any animal that got a little bit poorly, or we had a llama that cut its ear, Rob, we had Ross the cameraman's number, and Julian's, and we'd give him a ring, and they'd come down for the story. Now, that's how we kept on TV, and we that's our first, that's when we started on the Yorkshire Vet, because otherwise it'd only be springtime, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I remember actually coming, and I think Julian was down with Ross, and they were sorting out some alpaca's teeth. And I remember, I think it was like one of the first times I met Julian, and my mum had really quite liked his book, so I actually brought the book. To get signed, at the time.
Were you a fanboy, Matt?
Well, I have to say, my grandma got me into the Yorkshire Vet, and it was something which I never avidly watched it, but when my grandma started saying, watch this, I got more and more into it, and it's quite funny actually what you can...
I remember my dad telling me about it, the Yorkshire Vet, and he says, Good vets, you know them. Good vets. He's done a really good operation last night as Julian. You know, it were a dog. I didn't think he got a chance of doing it, and it survived.
And you know what? That's what we want to portray on the Yorkshire Vet, is that we all care about the job that we do. And we get a bit of stick now and again, of course you do. But it's something which genuinely, when I actually did the interview for I think Radio Scotland or something like that it was, and they're saying is what you see.
I thought you were going to drop in OK Magazine.
Okay, we'll get to that later, right?
Managed to appear in OK Magazine, like new baby and everything, and I just thought you were going to work that in then. I thought, a shameless name drop.
I've never heard the end of that since I've done it. Like,
have you got it framed on your wall?
Well, you know what?
Here is my baby pose.
Oh dear. So you know what? So what makes me laugh is that when it came out,
I hope you got well paid. Is all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? There's not. It's not.
Don't talk money. Don't talk money.
Yeah, awkward. Can we scratch that? But what made me laugh when the magazine cover came out.
Have you saved a copy?
Oh yeah, I've got a copy. Yeah, I'll get you one. You know. I may have saved a few. From a stage when she's older, you know.
Yeah.
But what made me laugh, when you go and buy the magazine, you see it in the shops, don't you? There's the magazine cover, okay, what it might be, and you can see the stories at the time. So-and-so's had a baby, got married, whatever it would be. Now, certain magazines have advertising on the front, don't they? Now, the front of OK magazine, for that particular time, I remember distinctly, had a marketing cover for Argos. Now, Argos had kind of enveloped the magazine. So if you imagine seeing the front of the magazine here, the first half is cut off by a big red piece of paper that says Argos. And at the time, there was Harry and Meghan on the cover. And they'd completely covered Meghan up so you could only see Harry. And in doing that, they'd completely covered me up as well. So all you could see was Prince Harry, Catherine, and Anastasia.
Oh, you know? Really?
So people took pictures and sent me, it's like, oh mate, you're not in it. What happened? Just Catherine and Harry. And I was like, yeah.
Did you run off with Meghan instead?
I know, right? I was thinking to myself, I like to think that maybe, it wasn't done on purpose, but I don't know whether the Meghan cover thing was, because it was all hot stuff at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but no, that does crack me up about that OK magazine.
I'd forgotten all about that as well.
Oh no.
Sorry, Matt, I interrupted you there.
No, it's fine. It was just going back to when you said about the filming the Yorkshire Vet and the springtime or such like that. I did a little radio interview on BBC Radio Scotland, and they asked, is what we see real as it's happening? And I said it is. It's absolutely 100% genuine, that the emotions that you see and feel are the same ones that we feel as we go through the story. And obviously there's the music behind it, and then there's the nice little drive into the countryside. But when you are there in that situation, I think you'd agree with me that everything that the viewers experience, we're experiencing it as well.
Oh no, we're living. I think if anything, it makes it even better, because you've got to make sure that you're absolutely on it, and you want the best outcome always for the animal and for your patients, I suppose.
I suppose if you think about it, the springtime programme, it's filmed a week before.
Yeah.
So they've time to stitch it together and get the flow right.
Yeah.
But the other day on social media, we had a Shire roast giving birth.
Yeah.
Rob filmed it, more or less from when the hoof started just coming out.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite know.
And that was live, Matt.
Yeah. We didn't quite know how it was going to go.
Yeah.
But we thought, let's do it.
Yeah.
And everyone, there was thousands of people watching, and they experienced it at the same time as us. They experienced all those feelings.
Yeah.
And I think
At
stuff
one
like
time,
that
we wouldn't have done it live, would we? We thought, oh no, what if it goes wrong? But we're open and honest with our followers, and if it went wrong, we'd only have it to talk about, to deal with afterwards. So why not do it live, and why not let people see the actuality of it? And I was glad we did it, and obviously it worked well, and it was something that a lot of people will have enjoyed immensely.
I mean, you know this, Matt. Horses and donkeys, they're very secretive. They give birth when there's no one around.
Oh, yeah.
So unless you've got cameras and you can see what's happening, chances of anyone seeing it, it's pretty slim.
Oh yeah, it is. And like you said, it's that risk that things aren't always going to go to plan. And I think one of the first times that I was on here, they were filming. I think it was
the calves,
the
anniversary.
The young calf anniversary. One was there, and one unfortunately broke its broke his
yeah.
leg in the car.
Roger.
We had to, Roger, that was it. Yeah, we had potted it back up, and any farmers had that happen to them because it is always a risk. And I think it was a bit of a shock that happens, but like you said, it's fixing it up afterwards because, well, you just got to be prepared for anything to go wrong at any point in time.
No, I think the one thing people do want is honesty, and I think if we can be true to the experience and true to the people watching, then they're only going to enjoy it more. And I think that's the one thing that we make sure is so all the time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cannon Hall Farm podcast.
Catch part 2 of our chat with Matt the vet next week. Here's a clip.
Top 20 friends?
I'd say so, yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Good.
But who's like, is Rob higher than me or lower than me?
Well,
Or have you got us as a pair?
it depends who makes the money joke when I leave.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow us on your podcast provider.
That's it for now. I've been Farmer Rob.
I've been Farmer Dave.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. You think Matt has put it on the bill?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Who knows?
He's a rascal.